Good evening, everyone. It is David Schlotthauer here, keeping an eye on Major Winter Storm Elliot tonight as it moves across the United States, bringing big-time cold temperatures, blizzard warnings, winter storm warnings across the Great Lakes, and most importantly, this could end up being the strongest storm in nearly a decade across the Great Lakes region. So we're going to get straight into things as there is so much to talk about in this video. This could be one of the longest videos on my YouTube channel because we are talking about a lot, okay? So we're going to get right into it on the GFS model for Thursday morning, December 22nd, and there is freezing rain, believe it or not, across portions here of West Virginia. If you're in Virginia, yes, there is freezing rain threat, so really watch it if you're going out early in the morning. Hopefully you're staying home. There could be some power outages as there could be up to a tenth or more of an inch of ice accumulation in that area. And then of course, here is Winter Storm Elliot going to be marching on in across the upper Midwest, into the Midwest and the Great Lakes as it bombs out at a historic low number, very close to the United States. So let's kind of go forward here. By Thursday evening, you can see Arkansas, if you're in Missouri, if you are in Illinois, if you're in, say, Wisconsin, if you are in Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, Michigan, yeah, there is your cold front. We are talking about light to moderate snowfall, really strong winds. The winds are going to be pretty intense, and that's going to lead to blizzard conditions and very poor visibilities as the heavy snow and the blowing snow really increase. And this storm continues to be a big problem, and it really is Thursday night into Friday when all will break loose. I don't want to say the word because this is going to be intense. So literally, we're going from 03Z Friday, so this is right around about 10 o'clock Eastern time, 997 millibars, okay? And look at how quick the pressure drops. By 4 in the morning on Friday, we could be dealing with pressures at 979 millibars. That is a big drop in pressure in literally 12 or so hours as a big-time explosive cyclogenesis does take place. And as that does, we're looking at a lot of snowfall. If you're in Tennessee, if you're in Kentucky, West Virginia, Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, definitely big-time snow, strong winds that are going to blow around that snow, and this is going to lead to blizzard conditions. I'm not trying to hype this up. I'm really trying to keep that under control, but there are some points of this video that I might go overboard because there is a good reason to. Because some of you in the comments says this is not going to be a big deal, and fortunately for those viewers, if you're living across kind of Tennessee, Kentucky, and Indiana, there has been trends towards lesser snowfall, but that doesn't mean the snowstorm is not going to be that big of a deal. You're going to deal with the big time winds, and it's going to lead to blizzard conditions. But if you're in Michigan, primarily Watertown, Buffalo, New York, right along the Great Lakes there, Erie, Pennsylvania, yeah, it's going to be a big deal for you, including half, basically kind of the central and western half of Michigan and northern Wisconsin, where big time lake effect snow will really cause problems. All right, so there's a look at it as we go into, say, Friday afternoon. There's your lake effect snow. It is going to be in full swing. Look at Watertown, New York. Look at Buffalo, New York. You're in the dark blue colors. That indicates heavy to very heavy snowfall accumulations and rates. If you're in Michigan, we're talking about some light to moderate snowfall, but take note of those isobars. That indicates winds are going to be really strong as this thing moves through. Again, we're talking about a bombing cyclone in the United States, perhaps, and that's going to lead to some big time winds. Okay, power outages, down trees, impossible road travel and road closures are certainly a possibility, especially where lake effect snow happens, like in Michigan, Erie, Pennsylvania, New York, those areas really concerned about road closures on Friday and Saturday. And then that system moves out, but look, it's still some moderate to heavy lake effect snow continuing through Sunday, and it may not even be in some areas here until perhaps maybe even on Monday or even Monday afternoon now, when this lake effect snow should die down. So while the main part of this like that moves through, right, that's the surface low here, the non-lake effect snow, that's going to be out of the area. But for some folks that live on the downwind side of these Great Lakes, like Lake Erie here, if you're in Lake Ontario and then Lake Michigan, this is going to be a big lake effect snow event, probably one of the worst in a while. I'm not going to say it's going to be historic, but it's going to be up on that level book for near historic snowfall totals with a lake effect snow event, because of how much moisture is going to be moving over these warm Great Lake waters and how much convergence at the surface there will be within these lake effect snow bands. So now, the European model is very similar as far as how the snowfall is going to end up being. So we can see here by Thursday afternoon, Arkansas could get a pretty good dosing of snow, maybe about 2 to 3 inches of snow. But look at to the north, there's your cold front, big pressure gradient on the backside of this. So the winds are going to be picking up behind the cold front as that Arctic air shoots down. It is going to just be blowing towards your area. And then of course right ahead of it we have this moisture over the northeast that's going to bring in the, again, freezing rain concerns over Virginia, West Virginia, and even for portions of, say, Pennsylvania that are always prone to the freezing rain. All right. Then, of course, by the time we go into, say, Thursday night into Friday, that's when it all breaks loose on the European. Bombing cyclone genesis, or what we call cyclogenesis, or bombing cyclogenesis, or explosive bombing genesis. There's many ways you could actually say it. You can say as many words as you can about that. But the ending point here is there is going to be a lot of snow, primarily over Michigan and the Great Lakes. I'm emphasizing that. There's going to be a lot of snow over Indiana, but it's going to be with that frontal or that cold front passage is what is going to be. We were thinking that maybe a lot of these areas could get like a foot. Now, things have really changed since this morning and since last night, but not really much for the Great Lakes. Big time lake effect snow continuing there on the European model all the way through Friday, Saturday. So Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, it's going to be downright blustery, stormy, windy, snowy. Yeah. So if you go outside at all, probably wait until maybe Monday or Tuesday when the lake effect snow will subside. And I mean, it's still pretty serious here. By Sunday morning, 90 hours out, there is still some hefty lake effect snow coming down across the region. And that leads me to this on pivotal weather. All right, when we take a look at this in Watertown, we can see how much snowfall is going to be accumulating. This is based on the GFS model, by the way. We will get to your region-wide snowfall totals, but these are the biggest concerns right now for the worst snowfall totals with this winter storm Elliot. All right, Watertown could get close to 40 inches, some outlying areas 49 inches through Monday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, this is an estimate. This is not the actual forecast. Please refer to your National Weather Service office in Buffalo and Watertown for the latest information, because these will change pretty significantly depending on where do these lake effect snow bands set up, how long do they last, and duration wise, right? It's all about intensity and duration that makes a big difference. Buffalo may only get 9 inches, but if this snow band moves to your north, you could get over 50 inches. What about that? So big time fragile situation here if you're prone to lake effect snow. Jamestown only 6 inches. If you're in Williamsport, 8 inches. If you're in State College, 4 inches otherwise. If you're in Syracuse, 5 inches. But again, if you're prone to the lake effect snow here, you're going to get big time snowfall accumulations of 2 to maybe 4 feet in some areas. Could even be locally higher than that. So let's kind of be aware of that if you're across the Great Lakes. And therefore, I will be streaming this event on Friday and on Saturday as the biggest lake effect snow event possibly of the winter season and might get close to historic numbers kind of pans out. So now, Erie, Pennsylvania, 44 inches of snowfall through Monday morning. Big time snowfall there if this lake effect snow band sets up as it is. Some areas along the coast here of Lake Erie could get 40 to 55 inches of snowfall. That is really concerning when you think about it. And here's another area to look at too for potential lake effect snow. Kalamazoo might get 2 feet of snow. Again, it is lake effect snow dependent. All right, the first wave of snow primarily gonna possibly only dump maybe 2 to 5 inches of snow, but it's these localized areas that can get a lot. Muskegon, 15 inches. Transverse City, 17 inches. If you're in Detroit, maybe a foot of snow. All right, if you're in Jackson, 17 inches. Lansing, 15 inches. Grand Rapids, Michigan, 13 inches. If you're in Appleton in Wisconsin, 8 to 9 inches. Green Bay, 9 inches. If you're in Milwaukee, 5 inches. West Bend, 5 inches. Crystal Lake in Illinois, 5 inches, and there is Chicago at the very bottom of the screen at 6 inches. So again, not so much for Chicago. Well, 7 inches is a lot, but primarily for Michigan could get in on this, and some areas here could get 37 plus inches. Another area that could get a lot of snow is Marquette in Michigan. Look at this, could get 2 feet of snow. Some areas up here could get 50 inches of snow. Thunder Bay, a foot of snow. So again, lake effect snow dependent with these totals. A wider shot, I don't want to miss you all as viewers in Canada. So if you're in Quebec and Ontario, Canada, look at these snowfall totals. Definitely in feet, 1 to 2 feet. Maybe some areas here could get as much, like I said, as 31 to maybe 40 inches, but since you're in metric units, we will use 80 centimeters all the way up to 100 centimeters. If you are, say, towards just north of New York here into, say, the Ontario area, you might see up to 145 centimeters of snowfall. That is a lot of snowfall in that area. When you convert that to inches, that's roughly about 55 to almost 60 inches in a 5-day period. All right, Indiana, Ohio, I just mentioned you all there, could see as much as 8 to 10 inches of snow. To the north a little bit more, maybe a foot if you're in Indiana there, possibly 8 to 10 inches of snowfall as, again, the main front passes its way through. Going to produce some of the most heaviest snowfall totals, but it's going to be maybe only 12 or 18 hours, and that's out of there for your area, versus the Great Lakes will be days. Could last a few days before the snow tapers off in those areas. All right, for the high plains and for the Midwest, 4 to 8 inches in general is expected, with Iowa there that could get as much as 5 to 8 inches. If you are in portions there of Minnesota like Minneapolis, if you're in La Crosse there, you can get as much as 5 to 8 inches of snow. So there has been a big downtrend as far as how much snowfall actually accumulates here. There still will be snowfall, but it does not look to be as substantial as the cold air will be. You're going to feel the cold air. That's what's going to really bite you or bite your skin more significantly than these snowfall totals. In fact, one could even argue this is really not a big storm at all for the Midwest, or even for portions of, say, the Ozarks, or even for portions of the Ohio Valley. It is primarily, again, if we go back to our previous sector here, it is this area that I am most concerned about for the heaviest snowfall. That's really where the big storm really happens as far as how much snowfall occurs. All right, so the European model, again, has a little bit more snowfall, maybe up to 8 or 9 inches in portions of, say, the northern, central, northeastern Iowa region. If you are in, say, Minneapolis, maybe a foot of snow. If you are in northern Wisconsin, 18 plus inches of snowfall is anticipated. But again, down here to the south, like Missouri, maybe only getting as much as 3 to 5 inches of snowfall at best. Not a big snow producer. Even so, you are under winter storm warnings. That's going to be done because of the strong winds that could actually reduce your visibilities quite substantially and lead to whiteout conditions. All right, So high resolution model here, this is what I'm talking about, especially for Buffalo, New York. One last look at this, because again, this is a really big concern. I have viewers from Buffalo that rely on my updates, so that's why we're going to show you this. You can see here, primarily that's not in inches. Let me go to how many inches that's going to be. And you can see here, 56 inches right in this narrow corridor. It all just depends on exactly where and how strong that lake effect snow band will develop. If it's stronger than what is forecasted, you might get up to 60 or 70 inches of snowfall, but that's a little too high and a little too obnoxious for me to kind of blow up on. But whatever it is, there's gonna be a lot of snow here in the Great Lakes. Another thing there will be is some very strong winds. I wanted to show you all this. Oops, I forgot to change my scene. How funny. All right, hopefully I did not miss any key parts at all. If I did, I am so sorry. I'll have to look back at that and edit it. All right, so let me go to strong winds here for you all, because this is really important, all right, because the winds out of this front are going to be whipping. They're going to be just kicking anywhere between 25 to 35 miles an hour all the way across Indiana, Illinois. Northern Ohio could get winds nearing 40 miles an hour. If you're in Lake Michigan, Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, all the Great Lakes, you could have nasty sustained winds, especially if you're on Lake Erie. You could have sustained winds over 50 to near 55 miles an hour, and gusts well of over 60 to 70 miles an hour. So that's going to be the big deal here. These two lakes especially, that's why they have storm warnings out on those already, before Lake Michigan has still a storm watch last I checked. We'll look at the National Weather Service here in a bit. Now, what we do need to kind of focus on here is my weather alerts. I like making these because you all are special and I enjoy making these graphics, but I need you all to please pay attention to this part of the video. For one thing, these warnings and watches are issued by me. These are not NWS watches or warnings, so please look at your official National Weather Service for more information. These are products that are issued only by me, all right, and are not through the National Weather Service. So please keep that in mind. All right, storm warnings are issued for Rapid City, Fargo, Omaha, St. Louis, Chicago. If you're in Pittsburgh, you're under an extreme storm warning. An extreme storm warning is so rare, this is the first time I have actually issued it, not for the hype, but for the concerns. This means you could see winds at or above 75 miles an hour with gusts of at least that strong. Actually, take that back. Sustained winds of at least 50 to 60 miles an hour with gusts of at least 75 or more miles an hour. Kind of similar to the SPC. When they issue significant wind gusts, they typically refer to 75 plus miles an hour. So that's kind of what I'm going with here. Now, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, you're not going to get 75. This is kind of a rough estimate and is a overall ensemble forecast. So do not take this seriously if you're in Pittsburgh, but if you're right along these Great Lakes right here, you're under an extreme storm warning. This is the highest level of concern product that I have over Michigan under a storm warning. This is big time seriousness if you're in that area. Storm warnings are issued for Kokomo and Indianapolis in Indiana, as well as Springfield, Illinois under storm warnings, which is a degree lesser of severe winter weather or storminess. And then you got the orange area, which is a storm watch, which is even lower. So Tennessee, Eastern Tennessee under that watch as of right now. All right, so now what I want to show you all, I'm going right back to pivotal weather, is these temperatures. This is why I have you all under a storm warning, not because the heavy snow is going to be something else, but the wind is going to be whipping up, and you're going to be seeing some very serious, if not deadly, historic wind chills, okay? This is the first time I've actually said the word deadly in my video, so please don't quote me on that. But I mean, this is a storm to not mess around. This cold air can kill people if not taken very seriously at all. So please, all right, what you're about to see will be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. So let's go forward here in time. Okay. So for Thursday morning, air temperatures, -30, -40 degrees. Yes, that's cold, right? But when you factor in the wind, wait until you see these wind chills, all right? -20 degrees in a huge population over Minnesota, over Iowa, over the Dakotas, all the way down into central Kansas. That's pretty far south. And even New Mexico, look at that, -5 in the northeastern quadrant. And it gets colder. Look at this. The cold air could sink all the way down as far south here with negative territory temperatures into northern Oklahoma. What about that? And it gets even colder. Look at this. Coldest temperatures here, -2, -5 degrees. And then most importantly, might even see -3 to -5 in Tennessee as that cold air really dips down. I mean, this is really big deal. I mean, you're not going to even warm up at all in some of these areas. Still in the negative territory, even during the day. It won't be until probably by the middle of next week when this colder air will finally let go. But still, look at this, -20 degrees in some areas. Some historic low temperatures are still possible all the way through this time frame, and then that cold air finally leaves the area. Wind chill values, big time. We're talking about -60, -65 in some areas. Look at this right here. We got -64 degrees for Thursday morning. Big seriousness right here, primarily in Montana, Wyoming, into the northern high plains of Dakotas and Nebraska. Going to see some of the worst wind chills in nearly a decade. I had to spit that out, folks. I mean business when I'm looking at these things, and you need to take this seriously if you haven't already. Okay, cold air continues to sink further south here with the wind chills as low as 0 degrees in northern Texas. Look at this. It might feel like -11 in Oklahoma City. If you're in northern Arkansas, it might feel like -20. And still in all, we're talking about -35 degree wind chills in Indiana. Not as low as the previous model runs, but still too serious to even be outside. It might feel like -23, -25 degrees in Tennessee. That's very life-threatening. That is very concerning. So if you have any animals, any pets, any cats, bring them inside, please. Any livestock like plants and outdoor water piping could be severely affected by this. So this cold air continues. It's going to feel very cold across the Great Lakes. And then again, another shot of this cold air really comes down, but lesser wind with this one. So it's not going to feel quite as cold, but still -35, close to -40 degrees in some areas. Here by the middle of next week, it is just going to be brutal. This Arctic invasion really going to hang on for a while. All right. I did not mention everyone here, and I'm terribly sorry, okay? Otherwise, my videos will end up being too long. But for those that were curious about Kentucky, because I did forget about Kentucky in my last video, -23, it might feel like there by tomorrow night, and then eventually, probably not tomorrow night, by Friday night into Saturday when the coldest air will arrive. So, before I do in this, I have this very important map that I need to show you all. I'm going to mention this in my live briefing on my Discord server. So if you all want to tune into that right now after this video, please do so, because I'm going to in-depth detail of exactly with what's going to happen. I'm going to show you your exact snowfall totals for your exact location in that briefing, okay? That's what briefings are. They last like over an hour. But here it is. Wind chill warnings, blizzard warnings, winter storm warnings. I mean, this is chaos. I mean, the entire map here is covered in watches, warnings, advisories. We got hard freeze warnings down there on the Gulf Coast, literally in the Gulf of Mexico. Believe it or not, that is pretty dang serious. High wind warnings, coastal flood warnings. I mean, this is wicked. I mean, this is pretty serious, folks. Wind chill watches and stuff down there. It's pretty serious. All right, and Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you want to look at it, this winter storm is so serious, I am missing school tomorrow, and I will be doing 2 videos with a live stream tomorrow. I'm doing a live discussion on my YouTube channel. Probably, I'm still thinking about that. We'll see what my decision is on that, but I'm gonna have a lot of content on this monster for the next few days. But anyways, if you did like today's video, please consider subscribing, sharing, and liking the video. Let's get this out to as many people as we can. You guys have been doing really good, and I want to honor you all for that, so please share this. We got to get this out to as many people because, again, there is more than just 1 million people that are impacted by this. This is impacting over possibly 200 million. Actually, not 200 million, probably like 150. Actually, yeah, it is 200 million because you got the Pacific Northwest. You got a lot of areas here. So please share this. Get this out to as many people as we can. The more people get this, the more I'm getting the word out, the more we're saving lives here on my YouTube channel, and the more than likely we're going to continue doing that all the way through the foreseeable future. So thank you all for tuning in, and I'll be back with you more tomorrow. Otherwise, I'll see you here on my Weather Force Discord server with a live briefing at 7 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time.